Hello, I am Pixel Doki and today I am going to go over the new 3D combat update, but before that please consider leaving a like and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot. Without further ado, let's get on with the video. The first change you can see is that I have something behind my back. In this update I have introduced a system that will show the weapon in the first inventory slot sheath in the back or at the waist of your character. Equipping the weapon will cause an unsheath animation to play. This unsheath animation only works when a weapon is in first inventory slot, otherwise it will just be drawn out like a vanilla weapon. Second change is that some weapon abilities have been revamped. Here is what they now look like. The Dagger, its first active ability is that it throws a dagger projectile at your enemies. This is the same when dual wielded but throws two instead of one dagger. The Dagger sneak ability does a heavy attack that deals high damage to enemies. The Great Sword, its first ability is that it sends out a flying slash towards your enemies. The Great Sword sneak ability is that it does a AoE spin attack that does high damage. The Halberd, its first ability is that it does a heavy slash attack that does medium to high damage. The Halberd sneak ability is that it spawns 3 splash damage attacks which increases the Halberd's attack range. The Lance, its first ability gives the player resistance on use. The Lance's sneak ability gives you speed and makes you do damage as you charge through enemies. The Odachi, its first ability shoots out a flying slash towards the direction you are facing. The Odachi's sneak ability is that it powers up the next 2 strikes. The first strike gives enemies slowness to simulate stun and the second strike gives a longer decay. The Pole Hammer, its only ability is that it strikes the ground which leaves a medium smash that deals high damage. The Bec De Corbin, its first ability does a heavy slash attack which persists for both modes. The Bec De Corbin sneak ability switches the weapon between hammer and spike. The Glaive, its first ability does a front stab which deals medium damage. The Glaive sneak ability gives you speed and increases the Glaive's attack speed. The Katana, its first ability is a combo which first shoots out a flying slash towards your enemies and then the second time you use it, it lunges you forward and deals damage. The Katana sneak ability teleports you to nearby entities to deal a high amount of damage. The Katar, its first ability does a heavy front stab that does low to medium damage. The Katar's sneak ability does a heavy front stab that teleports you and deals medium damage. The Longsword, its first ability is a heavy slash which deals high damage. The Longsword sneak ability lunges you forward to deal high damage. This persists when using a shield with the Longsword. The Longsword with Shields ability gives you speed so that you can charge through enemies. The dual Longsword, its ability is that it does a heavy frontal slash. The dual Longsword sneak ability teleports you forward and deals high damage to a crowd of enemies. The Mace, its first ability is a frontal heavy hit which stuns the enemies for 3 seconds, stun meaning applied slowness. The Mace's sneak ability makes it so that the next strike ignores armor, or if they don't have armor it just deals more damage. The Saber, its first ability gives you strength for 2 seconds. The Saber's sneak ability gives you resistance to defend against attacks with. The Spear, its first ability throws the spear forward to deal damage similar to the ones on the attack lore on the item. The spear's sneak ability lunges you forward to deal medium damage to anything in front of you. The Wakizashi, its first ability teleports you to the enemy to deal medium damage towards your enemies. The Wakizashi sneak ability sends out a flying slash forward. The Rapier, its first ability makes its attack speed faster. The Rapier's sneak ability lets you do a barrage of attacks which deals low to medium damage per tick. Third change, there are new scrolls that have been added. This scroll adds 10 exhaustion points per use. Iron Lung Scroll. This scroll gives a passive which decreases exhaustion depletion. Diamond Lung Scroll. This scroll gives a passive which decreases exhaustion depletion greatly. Friction Strike Scroll. This scroll gives a passive which deals extra fire damage with weapons. All scrolls can be found randomly in chests throughout the world. And that is it for today's update video. I hope y'all enjoy the new update, and see you all on the next one. Peace out.